Next week, the Flashpoint update comes to Arc Raiders, and we now know a bit more of what's coming outside of what was debuted with the roadmap months ago. And one of the things that's been clarified has come as a relief to some players. Today, we're going to take a first look at our sort of larger picture of the Flashpoint update and what you need to know. So drop your thoughts as we go along, drop a like if you enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe for more Arc Raiders content, and be sure to catch us live in the upcoming days. Finally have some things worked out after a 5-month-long battle with my ISP that I'd love to chat Arc, games, or anything else with you as we start to go live regularly again, both here on the channel and over on Twitch. But for now, let's get into it. So Arc Raiders' next substantial update is coming next week with all eyes on that from Embark. Yesterday, we got a weekly update for the game, which included a few minor changes like a crash issue fix for DirectX 11, the exploit of getting through the walls with a fuel cell, and/or field crate was patched, among a new Raider tool and backpack set being added into the shop. So technically, yeah, it was an update, it was a new game version, but it was one that was entirely forgettable. But what was mentioned explicitly was the team is hard at work getting the Flashpoint update ready for next week, and we're excited for you to dive into the new content. We've also seen some questions about the size of our weekly patches, so to clarify, these updates are focused on smaller quality of life improvements and store rotations. Our larger, more content-heavy updates are currently planned for the end of each month. So next week's, that's the substantial one of the month, and it sets the tone for what we'll see in the future if you haven't found the pattern just yet of what these updates sort of go on in terms of their timing. There's a chance to see some more meaningful updates, as we saw recently with not this past update yesterday, but the one before that last week, where we saw some meta adjustments. We saw the Il Toro tweaked a little bit in that weapon balance, but it wasn't a big update. However, it is certainly more impactful than the one we just had. So this setting the expectation that we'll have larger updates once a month with content drops that are more substantial, but weekly updates are in between all of that and have the ability to be either something that's very minor or could have some effect on the gameplay loop. But okay, still a few days away from the next substantial update. There's still been a few lingering questions when it came to that content though until recently. First, when you look at the roadmap, as we discussed, this update is, on paper at least, smaller than the one we're waiting for next month. Like, I think that collectively a lot of people are kind of like, okay, this update could be cool, but I'm more so looking forward to what's next after that. Understandable. While in quantity, there's the same number of items being added in with the Flashpoint update as there is with next month's Riven Tides update, or I should say probably more precisely, marketed items. The scale of next month's update is surely larger. A map condition, arc threat, project, and scrappy update for the upcoming update next week versus a brand new map, a new large arc, a new map condition, and an expedition window as of next month. Yeah, one of those has a bit more gravity around what you're maybe looking forward to. But these lingering questions, we haven't had an update just yet that was only 4 smaller items marketed as our larger update for the month. A new map condition, cool. New arc threat, cool. Project, cool. Scrappy update, potentially cool, still undefined just because we don't know what that's actually going to entail. So like, that stuff is cool, but every single update we've had has granted us a little more than just that. The headwinds being a prime example of this. This granted us a new quest, quality of life change, some tuning, and new augments in the loot pool, along with what was the marketed update itself. So far, the Flashpoint has already proven to give us a glimpse at a new weapon, that seems to be confirmed, and we know that even more is coming as a result. Since our last discussion about the Flashpoint update at large, we've seen 2 new teasers added into the mix here. Number 1, showcasing the Shredder is finally breaking out of the Stella Montes facility, a long-awaited piece to that gameplay puzzle that was hinted by design director Virgil Watkins a while back, saying, "I think it's a promise," when asked if they'd find a way to get out of containment. So far, we know, based off the footage, that we'll see it coming to the Blue Gate, but we also don't know if it'll be something that's only on Blue Gate or if it's also other maps, or if it's something that is part of that new map condition, that there's the Shredders in that limited time sort of capacity on rotation in Blue Gate, but other than that, regular Blue Gate could be safe. We don't know. But I mean, imagine opening up like the 6th floor breachable room or the apartment double-sided breach room in Buried City, and you open that door and you're just face to face with a Shredder. That would be a terrifying thought, but again, who knows? Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. However, we just saw today another teaser that said contact lost, melted, team never returned, signal error, vaporized, signal error, no signal, with the following sequence on screen. Now, there was a follow-up reply that said Flashpoint March 31st, watch the sky, which also should be noted and we'll come back to in a second. But it's only a 7-second teaser with a bunch of static effect on it and surely what looks like a laser beam of some kind going after a raider that is dodging it. The tweet associated with it said the team never returned because they were vaporized, and well, that's pretty bleak, man. There is an overabundance of the use of the Greek letters delta and xi in that wording, along with an M3 instead of ME for melted, which strikes me as a non-random occurrence here. Like, there's surely a hint of something in that, but as to where that leads or what it means, I mean, your guess is truly as good as mine. I'm not going to try and read too far into that, but maybe the M3 something is what we see as the name of this potential enemy or like a component of that or something. But what this could mean for the gameplay loop in this arc threat is that, I mean, it has a laser beam. It greatly reminds me of something like the Queen's attack phase, but we also haven't seen that in anything that isn't a sort of large arc, right? But strangely, we have seen that same sort of style of attack in pre-release footage from both documentary and early concept art footage and teasers for the game. There's a large arc that's been dubbed the Bishop by players in the community that is sort of a giraffe style arc that we've mentioned here on the channel before, that it's possible you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that arc has the same style of attacks as we see in this teaser, a laser style attack that can appear to vaporize raiders. However, there's just one small snag with that. That's a pretty big arc, or a large arc. Like, when you look at that footage, it's as large as the Queen, Matriarch, maybe even larger, or just somewhat on that same scale. So with an update coming next month that promises a dubbed large arc on that roadmap, does that really make a ton of sense to add it into this update? I mean, it's possible that was what was teased, but I kind of want to pitch a different idea. That's a cool prospect here, but there's also additional context that most people would have missed. On the official Arc Raiders Instagram account, there's a bit more to see. On the thumbnail image for the teaser video that we're just talking about, there's a cover image that you can only see before clicking that. And if you're on like a mobile device or something, you won't catch this at first glance. But if you download that image and take a look at it, you can see there's actually a bit more text to it. This string of text, akin to the official tweet and the initial announcement of it, but offering more context. It says, the sky, it owns the sky, no signal. Flashpoint, watch the sky. Streams lasted 4.2 seconds, signal error. It owns the sky, melted, no signal. Look up Raiders, signal error. Call the extract, recalculating, signal error. It owns the sky, melted, no signal. Contact lost, melted, 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 melted. Vaporized, signal error. We hid in the storm, but the storm hid something back. Beam from above, signal error. Vaporized, watch the sky, call the extract, flashpoint, watch the sky, it owns the sky, melted, no signal, look up Raiders, signal error, contact lost, melted, team never returned, signal error, vaporized, signal error. So a lot of like just repeating themes here, but there's that one thing that stands out of, we hid in the storm, but the storm hid something back, likely pertaining to that of the hurricane map condition, what we saw in that. But finally, to tie this all together, the blurred picture there is the sky in what surely appears to be the same shape as that UFO arc we saw in the hurricane map condition the last couple of weeks. So I think it's possible this was teased as that UFO style arc that we were seeing during the hurricane map condition that would happen randomly, but that we never got to see anything more of in regards to that. The follow-up of Watch the Sky, the image associated with it again that probably most people missed, it just seems a little too perfect for me. Now, of course, it's quite possible this could be wrong, but it seems like this is all pointing in that direction. No? But I think what this means for the update at large is no matter how this goes, it surely seems to be something new and at least a little different. Like, yeah, you can have the gripes of things like the Firefly or the Comet being the same archetypes as existing arcs, but they're still new enemies in their own right. Again, you can argue the semantics of where those ideas came from, fusing or kind of repurposing existing archetypes, but they were new items added in that are new threats. Many players were rightfully worried that this would be an underwhelming arc threat as marketed, which sure, still could be the case, but a lot of people assumed that the Shredder escaping from Stella Montis was an indication of that new arc threat, because in the simplest of terms, it technically was a new threat for 4 out of the 5 maps potentially. Again, we don't know if it only is going to be coming to Blue Gate until something is officially mentioned, but it does seem like this at least adds a little bit more certainty that that's not going to be the case, that we are going to see this content addition bolstered out a little more with some things that are a little more worthwhile than just, oh great, the Shredder got out, cool, that's, again, check that box off. So while of course there are definitely complaints that you can have as a player wanting a bit more original content, a bit more of anything here and there, this seems to be one of those things that they're sticking to their guns on and isn't turning out to be a worst case scenario of what is being marketed. But anyways, just wanted to take a little bit of time today to talk about the recent teasers we haven't touched on, the last 2, but also explain a little bit of what's going on in the sort of communal realm of things here with Arc Raiders. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this newer large archetype upcoming? Do you think it's going to be a threat that is a flying arc like those UFOs? Do you think it'll be something a little larger? Or do you think it's something else entirely? Feel free to drop your thoughts down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And of course, make sure you subscribe for more Arc Raiders and other FPS content. I'd love to have in the community, but for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.